I just wanted to show. So this is the inside of this shelter. When it's not too windy, it's okay. But I have to say, when it's very windy, the back of it just it really, and it's a little bit breezy, it really blows in on your head, and it gives you a right twonk on the head. I mean, to be fair, maybe I haven't got it pitched, you know, absolutely perfectly, because I can see that the top is a little bit loose there, so maybe that just needs tightening up a little bit. Anyway, I don't like it in the wind very much, and I'm not really a fussy one about about shelters in the wind, but this does seem to be sort of a little bit smothering. Yeah, to be fair, that cord there, which was tight, now certainly isn't. So that might not be, that probably isn't helping, to be honest. Let's okay, I've tightened the door up, or you know, the line from the pole, you know, to the peg. I thought I tightened it up, but I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't. It's going to be quite windy all night, so we'll see whether if it stays tight all night now, then I didn't do my job properly. Oh God, Tony's got it wrong again. We'll see what happens. I mean, that has, to be fair, that has helped somewhat with the wind. I think the reason why it was banging my head quite so much is obviously that wasn't tight, and then that was making the material slack. So, but like I said, I thought I had. Anyway, we'll see in the morning. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely bumping on my head quite a bit here. But to be fair, any shelter like this does seem, this seems more bouncy on my head than, I think, because it's quite low, whereas I think like the Solar Mid, the Duo Mid and all those, because the centre pole is, ooh, that was a bit, ooh, that's another bumpy bit on the, I'm receiving a bump upon the head. Yeah, I think because those shelters, the pole is higher, and then I think because the pole is higher, that's giving you steeper walls. It's like, you know, you probably, if you were in like the Acto or some of the Hilleberg Acto, you probably would be getting quite a bit of ingress, but because you've got the struts front and back, then that kind of just gives you a little bit of height, whereas you don't get that in this, and it's a reasonable height. It's about 1.2 meters ish. To be fair, I'm not exactly sure how high it is. That might not be wholly accurate, but I don't think it's as high as that touch today. I don't know, but you can sit up in it. And maybe 110, 120 centimeters. Because obviously I've just put the pole in at the height, but it's definitely definitely quite bumping on the head. But then, like I said, it is quite blustery. Apparently there's another hurricane coming through. I don't know what these hurricanes are doing coming through already. It's a bit early for hurricane season, I would have thought. Anyway, we'll see what it's like in the morning. Well, good morning. We all had a pretty good night's sleep. It took me a while to fully nod off. Partly the weather. It was quite windy last night. Partly my fault, because I didn't really, to be fair, I didn't pitch it properly yesterday afternoon. I pegged it all out. So I pegged it all out okay, and then it was I think I just did a quick job of it just to get it pitched up so I could get stuff inside. And normally I kind of remember to finish pitching it, or I just finish it there and then, but for whatever reason I didn't. So last night I was inside and I was thinking it's quite flappy, and I was thinking why is it quite so flappy? Anyway, I hadn't tied up. I mean, they weren't very loose, but they weren't. I hadn't tied up the guy lines completely. I'd done them so they were, you know, done up and holding the shelter up, but not that last little tweak that I normally do when I go around. And this has stayed tight overnight, so I couldn't have tied. I thought I tied that up last night. I think I'm going to do Dally or something. So once I tightened it up, then it wasn't banging me on the head quite so much. So yeah, pilot error on that one, but it still was banging me on the head. You know, a little bit, but by then I think the weather had eased, and I think what I have discovered with this, and I'm sure users of this do this anyway, but because it's not low, it's about 1.10 m. We're going by the poles anyway. It's about 1.10 m, but of course it drops down quite quickly. And the thing with the Trail Star, the MOD Trail Star, is your head is more in the middle, one way or another. Well, it is usually for me anyway, because I usually have my head at the door. And so I haven't usually got something bumping me on the head. Whereas this, if you're straight across, then the edges, they do bounce in quite a bit, and you are going to get thumped on the head quite a lot if it's very windy. But if it's only one of you, and I think you would get 2 people in there, but if it is just one, if you sleep across so that your head is going to the corners, then that helps a lot. And that was what I ended up doing, was just angling everything that way slightly, and that definitely helped. Lassie was outside in the bushes. Bella, I think she stayed outside for some of the night, and then I think about 2 o'clock in the morning she came under cover. I think Lassie is a little bit more hard, a little bit more weather hardened than Bella at the moment. And obviously I had Lizzie in there with me. So I've had a couple of teas. I have one more tea, or at least one more tea. The time at the moment is 10 to 11, so I won't go until at least 12:30. But then I do need to get going by 12:30, because it's only, the car's probably like half an hour away, if the car's not far. And then say an hour home, and that would get me back about 2. I'd like to get back about 2, then I've got time just to get in, have a shower. Then the carer is due at 4, but they're usually early because I'm doing the afternoon caring duty for, you know, for my dad. So yeah, because he has to have 2. So, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, I think it's a budget tent. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I wouldn't get one. You know, it hasn't made me think, oh, I need to get one. But I mean, like I said, if someone's looking for something that's, you know, fairly cheap and cheerful, fairly robust. I mean, it did stand up to, it was quite gusty last night. And it stood up to I mean, it wasn't howling a gale, obviously, but, you know, it stood up to that well enough. I mean, obviously the porch here is unusable because of that great mound and everything there, and it's a shame they don't put line locks on the doors, because that would make, you know, securing a door easier rather than bits of bungee. You know, obviously they've cut corners, you know, here and there. And I think you would be able to cook in the porch, but carefully, because when it is pegged out, yeah, there is a pretty decent, you know, you have got space there. So to be fair, there is, you know, there is enough room there to cook in the porch if you had to. It's not the best spot. It's not the best spot here, to be honest. But if there was no condensation in there, mind you, it's not a surprise, because, like, no, I did close the door, to be fair. I half closed it because the wind was coming this way. And so I did close the door just to keep the wind out. I could have opened the door on the other side, but I was kind of using this side as my door, so I did close the door about halfway, but there was no condensation in there. It was dry. And of course this one, I think, as I mentioned yesterday, this is a copy, like a Chinese copy of the Z-Lite something or other. Whereas you've got the fly, and then the inner is attached to the fly. So the only inner part, as it were, really is just the front, this front part, and then the back, because there isn't an inner over the top, because the fly is the inner. And it worked well. I mean, to be honest, it worked well, and it was comfortable enough. Like I said, for me, the major problem is not having a door over that side. It just does not work. It just doesn't work for me, not having any door over there. At least on the Enan and the Acto, door kind of swings around. I do wish the Enan door was a bit bigger, but it's enough. But that's the biggest drawback for me. But yeah, no, it was a nice relaxing night. So I've started putting some stuff in the pack. I'm going to carry on watching a film for another half hour or hour. I'll have another tea. I've just chucked stuff in the pack because, like I said, it's not raining. It's literally half an hour to the car. So even if it rained, I've just chucked everything in. It's all loose. Yeah, just woof, 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 woof. You know, there's no thought. There was no thought in packing that pack. There's one advantage of a framed pack. You can just chuck stuff in and not even think about what you're doing with it. Anyway, well, like I said, I'm gonna have I'll put the thing on. There's a little bit of gas in there. Ooh. There's not much in there. Maybe enough for another tea, but it really has gone down. So that was an interesting experience. That epi-gas just blew up last night. There's no video of it, but and my jet boil isn't working, so I don't know what the story is on jet boil. What's their guarantee? Do they have a guarantee? But the original jet boil that I bought, it didn't work when I actually bought it, and it had to go back and be changed. And now this one, which has been working, I just haven't used it for a while because I've been using the MSR, but it's not, and like I said, it's not working. I'll have a look at it at home and see whether it's working with another gas. But I tried the epi-gas and it didn't work on the epi-gas, but the jet boil did. Sorry, but the pocket rocket did. If I'd have just left the pocket rocket on the epi-gas, it would have been fine. The problem was I took the jet boil off, I took the pocket rocket off, tried to put the jet boil back on again, and then screwing it back on again, that's when the epi-gas canister gave up the ghost. And then it failed completely. So that was an interesting experience. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing with that jet boil, really, failing like that. I never thought to test it at home because I assumed that it would be okay. Just an interesting observation. This line here I didn't do anything with to tighten up or do anything, but actually there's no support in there, but because the height is kind of half decent, you've got a bathtub without a strut, and that one over there isn't tight, and you've got the bathtub thing. So they've obviously copied that idea from Ron. Anyway, we're ready to get this tent put away now. It's 20 past 10. 20 past 12. We need to get this down. We need to get rocking and rolling and head back. So we will catch up next time in some video or other, somewhere or other. It's kind of like that, you know. We'll do what we're able to do, really. You know, for the moment, and just, you know, take it how it comes. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I don't know what we've got from this trip. We were going to cook, but that didn't quite work out. Another time. See you all again soon. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.